In this video, I will give a brief introduction of JunoViewer's Trigger Model Analyzer and show how easy it is to debug and test your deterioration model using this powerful feature. So here I am in JunoViewer and my home page. And the first thing I want to do is to go to the deterioration model that I'm interested to test and debug. So if I go to the forecast models page, I am interested to look at this model called AA Demo 2. And I can see here that the DMS file associated with this model is called DMS Londrix Master V1. So of course, if I'm working on this model, it's most likely that I already have this DMS file on my computer. But if I don't and I've got the correct permissions, then I can just go to my list of DMS or model setups and I can select that file and download it. And I've already done that. So on my computer, in here in this folder, you can see that I've got that DMS file already downloaded. And as a matter of fact, I've got it opened here in Excel as well. So my entire model is basically laid out in this DMS setup file. Now, so now that I'm ready to tinker and improve my DMS file, I can go to the Trigger Model Analyzer page. So under the Settings menu, I go to Analyze Trigger Model, and now I see my Analyze Trigger Model page. So I go and select my network and the ForwardWorks program that I'm interested to debug, and this is called AA Demo 2, and I load my ForwardWorks program segments. And here are all the treatment links in my ForwardWorks program listed on the side here. Now very often, if you are debugging a model for the first time, you may only have 20 or 30 segments in here which contain the test cases for different scenarios that you actually want to test. But this is actually a full ForwardWorks program. So just walking through the features of this page, I've already showed you how to load the ForwardWorks program segments. Under the Options tab, you will find a cost scale factor, the statistic for the parameters to show, and the maximum number of strategies that can be considered. So we can go up to 500 strategies. Now in the actual full model, this strategies is limited. I think in the region of 150 or 200 strategies. But for the Trigger Model Analyzer, we have allowed a higher number of strategies to be considered just for you to test your model. And I'll come back to this a bit later. So if I select the treatment length here, then what I can do is to click on the Get Forecast button. And this will run then the full deterioration model on that selected treatment length. And you can see here all of your model parameter values with their predicted values in all of the different years. And what makes this very powerful is that you can now see how the different values relate to each other. So for example, if your remaining surface life is a function of your current surface life and your surface age, you will see that relationship embedded here in this model data. If this is not what you expect, then you can just go back to your DMS file and go and make a change there. And this is where the Trigger Model Analyzer is really powerful, because if you make a change to your DMS file, you can just go and select it here in this upload feature, upload it, and you can just run your forecast for this single treatment length without having to run your entire deterioration model again, which may take 10 or 20 minutes or perhaps several hours depending on what type of strategy mechanism you've got in place. So let's look, for example, at the rut parameter that I've got set up in this model. Now you can see my rutting initially starts off at 8 millimeters and it goes up at about 1.6 millimeters per year. So you can see there's quite a big increase in the rut every year. And then at this stage in 2021, a rehabilitation is triggered. And when that rehabilitation is triggered, you can see that the rut is reset from 12 to 5 millimeters. And after that, then the rut rate is significantly reduced. It goes now to 0.3 millimeters instead of the 1.6 that it was before rehabilitation. Now let's say, for example, that that is actually correct. That's what I want my model to do. But I want this rut rate after rehabilitation to be 0.4. So now I can go here to my DMS file. This is now this file that I've downloaded, and I've got it open in Excel. And I can go to my reset setup, and I can see here, this is where I've set up my rut increment. Of course, you can build your own model completely unique in your DMS file. But you can see here, for a seal rehabilitation, I have a reset value of 0.3 millimeters per year for an ESA per day of 600. So what I'm going to do is to push that up to 0.4. Now that may not make sense, but I just want to illustrate that. So I'm going to save this. It's very important. You save it on your computer, and if I go back to my Trigger Model Analyzer page, I can now select that updated file and upload it, and then I can instantly rerun this forecast. And you can see here with that updated DMS file that this rut, it's still showing the historical increment in rut rate here, but the moment that rehabilitation is placed, my rut rate is now changed to 0.4, which is what I wanted it to be. Previously, recall, it was 0.3. So that shows you the power of this Trigger Model Analyzer to quickly debug and improve your deterioration model setup. Now, going to a more advanced level, and I won't go into this in detail in this video, you can also, if you have one of the strategy-driven models or the net present value type of models, you can also go and look at the strategies that the model will consider for that treatment length. Here you can see all of the strategies that the model will currently consider. I'm going to just look at that relative to the predicted rut. And you can see here, these are the strategies that are being generated. So I can either do a rehabilitation early on and then do some reseal a bit later, or I can postpone my rehabilitation with a few years, and then in this modeling period there won't be a reseal. And of course the model is going to look at the net present value for all of these different strategies, and it shows you which one is optimal here based on your net present value. And here it also shows your benefit cost ratio. If you want to look at these strategies in detail, you can also download it to Excel. And if you look at that download file, you'll see it gives you a very clear description of the different strategies with the treatment cost, maintenance cost, total cost, the benefit, and the benefit cost ratio, and it shows you which one is optimal. So in keeping with the philosophy of the whole JunoViewer concept, we are making it very transparent what is happening behind the scenes. Even for a relatively complex principle such as a net present value calculation, it is very easy for you to drill into the details and see how JunoViewer is actually implementing the engineering intelligence that you and your team bring to the table. So that's all for this quick introduction to JunoViewer's Trigger Model Analyzer. In a later video, we will look in more detail at the strategy generation and the spreadsheet that is downloaded associated with that, like I've just shown you. If you have any questions or constructive comments on this video or topic, or if you'd like to learn more about JunoViewer's powerful modeling framework, then email us today at info@landrix.com. Thanks for watching.